YouTube. I don't know why I was going to say Facebook. What's up, YouTube? Oh, Sunday night, doing another live. If you're rewatching this, I suggest you just go ahead and jump on forward to about 2 minutes in. When we get a few people in here, we'll talk. So I hope everybody had a good weekend, and getting ready to start another week here of work. Was working on the car this weekend again. What's up, Ezekiel? I think the car's dead. We've replaced a bunch of stuff. Doesn't seem to be fixing the problem, so I don't know. We'll see where we go from here. I think I'm going to be buying another car here pretty soon, though. Yeah, what's going on with you, Ezekiel? Sick again or what? So welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Be sure to hit that like button. And we're going to talk about the car a little bit and wherever else this live goes. So I replaced the fuel injector today. Last week we did the coil and the plugs. Now I did the injector. The injector, it really wasn't that bad once I figured out that the O-ring from the previous fuel injector was stuck in the fuel rail. Couldn't figure out why that thing wouldn't go in all the way. So I had my son out there with me, and he had the wisdom to say, hey, maybe something's stuck in the fuel rail. And yeah, the O-ring from the previous one was. So got that out. Fuel injector went right in. Unfortunately, car's still doing the same thing. So I don't know. Might be in the market to buy another car here pretty soon. Unfortunately, I didn't end up quitting. I gave it a try, and I'm pretty much right back where I started at. So, yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. But yeah, it's throwing a code misfire cylinder 1. I replaced the coil. I replaced the plugs. And now I've replaced the injector. Still getting the misfire. So I think maybe might be an engine deal. Might be some internal stuff going on there because everything else has been replaced at this point that would cause did the coil, which basically is just like the wires at this point. So it's an individual coil on each cylinder. So I replaced the coil for the spark, replaced the plug for spark, and the injector for fuel. So everything is new on that cylinder, but I'm still getting the same symptom. I mean, it could be a cat. The cat for that thing's like $2,000. So I'm not going to do a cat on a car that ain't worth much more than that. So, to Bobby Healing, I get that a lot. That the broken part don't fit, but it's the transformation from being broken, I guess. So I appreciate that, though. Higher. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button while you're in here, if you would. Yeah. So that's the kind of the update on what's going on with the car. watched a YouTube video to do the injector, and yeah, it fits my car for sure, Ezekiel. Jesus. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just be respectful, Ghost. That's all. Channel's about sobriety and life in general, pretty much. So, what's up, Monk? How you doing tonight, brother? Glad you can make it. Man, that car is giving me fits. So, yeah, replace the injector today. Still having the same problem. I think the motor's bad. I think there might be a crack in the cylinder head or something. So, probably going to be car shopping here pretty soon. Can't really afford a damn car payment, but got to get to work. Got to be able to get around and do things. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's a 2008 Corolla. Oh, wow. Getting it done, huh, Monk? That's right. Well, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Yeah. So that was the thing. Surprisingly, the fuel injector was not that difficult to replace at all, you know? In the end, the car did win, Ezekiel. Jesus. You know, the thing about that car is it never left me stranded anywhere. So, wow. Danny says, I'm pretty big deal. I'm wanted unalive by NSA, CIA, FBI, FDA, the Food and Drug Administration wants you too, bro, and various other 3-letter agencies. Was there an incident with Little Debbie's or something? Why would the FDA want you? Monk says, my car got fixed for half what I thought, expected 6-7. Oh, that's good, bro. That's always a win when you get out of the repair shop or, you know, the parts store cheaper than you thought, you know? Yeah, that one thing I will say though is the night that it really started acting up, it got me home. And I will forever be grateful to this vehicle for that. Didn't leave me on the side of the Cajon Pass, so shout out to the Toyota for that. So what's everybody up to tonight? It's a Sunday, and a drink at Pride last year. Wow. No, I don't buy anybody drinks, but what's up, Samuel? How you doing tonight? Oh, nice, Westy. He says, I'm going to diesel mechanic school for free. Pretty cool. That's good stuff. It's broken Bobby's transformation, Michael. I was addicted to meth for around 15 years, and I've transformed my life. So I'm no longer broken. Well, maybe a little fractured. I'm not broken, though. But yeah, it's about the transformation, you know. Man, I hear you, Monk. I hear you. I didn't win it either. What's up? Samuel says, I'm in London, England. Shout out to London. 5 years sober. Congratulations, brother. It's a good thing. San Diego, 1904. It says, no more messing around. That's right. Man, that stuff. And then Bill D has to show up. We were on a roll, weren't we? How would you know that, Bill D? Oh, boy. Life is definitely better without it, Michael. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be alive today if I hadn't gotten off of that stuff, you know? And if I were alive, I'd probably be in a penitentiary somewhere serving out the rest of my life, you know? Hard doesn't mean impossible. Completely agree. Completely agree. Hey, if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. hit that like button, you can just tap on the stuff at the top, and little like button will pop up, and you can hit that button. It helps with the algorithm and everything. Uh, Westy says my uncle had to have spent thousands on lotto tickets before he actually won $1 million. I never got to see a cut of it because I didn't ask. He was already rich. Oh wow, yeah. How do we go from talking about our car? They kind of go hand in hand, though, don't they, Zeke? They kind of go hand in hand. Let me go see what I can take apart. Nothing, no subscription unless you step it up, old head. Wow. Okay. So now we're being a little disrespectful, aren't we? I prefer OG. Let's go outside and have a cigarette while we talk about this. And whether you subscribe or not, it doesn't matter. Now we're outside. We're going to have a cigarette. Ghost Riley says, life is what happens when you're making other plans. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and you only live once. But if you do it right, once is enough. Man, I like that. Samuel says, liked and subscribed. I appreciate you, Samuel. Snapshot Sniper. Is that his name? So, yeah, we came out for a quick smoke. Don't smoke it. I don't smoke inside. So, what are your thoughts on Elon Musk wanting to replace you with an Indian guy? Well, the type of work I do, Westy, Elon Musk ain't replacing me. They haven't figured that one out yet. I haven't even seen tests yet on trying to replace my position with that. So I'm not overly concerned. I'm sure AI and some stuff will replace some people at some point. But to be honest with you, since I was a kid, they've been talking about how robots and everything was going to take our jobs, So, and I haven't seen a whole lot of that yet. Yeah, maybe a little bit of both, Ghost. I think when I was active in my addiction, I didn't really know who I was. So I did have to find myself. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm working on creating something that's much better. So it's a good comment, though. I like it. Ezekiel says, respect the OG Broken Bobby. I appreciate it. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. I agree. But I think, especially if you got kids and grandkids, it's to be happy, but at the same time, to be a good example to others, So, but people who want to replace the people who have been here for cheaper labor is real, and I ain't for it. No, and I agree. There's need to pay people what they're worth. And yeah, I agree with that as well. Ghost says, I'm going to the army tomorrow. Well, good luck with that, bro. Gonna join the military. So you haven't joined yet. So I don't think you're going tomorrow, Ghost. But I think it's a good head start in life with all the programs that they offer. But at the same time, if you end up in a war zone or something, it could be really bad. Not just if something happens to you, just the things that you see. A lot of people come back with PTSD and stuff like that. It's kind of parallel to going to prison. The violence that you see changes you, So, but I wish you the best of luck with that. Well, if you weren't nervous, I'd be more concerned. Like that's a big step in life, and but it'll help you to see who you are. Ultimately, I think, And one thing about the military, now's probably a good time. For what? With the thing with the military is it teaches you teamwork, and that you're not, they break you down to build you up. You are nothing as an individual, you are everything as a team. So, is it? Yeah, I seen on. I was looking at the TV a little while ago, and they were talking about severe weather warnings for the Midwest and the South. It looked like. So be careful out there, Ezekiel. And if you're under a warning, you should probably take shelter if you're able to. Okay, yeah. What's up, John Perchman? He says, "Yes, I do, Riley. I am a vet dad, vet 33 years. You will learn a lot. Appreciate your service, John." Hey, what's up, Solid Behind Blue Eyes? How you doing tonight? I think it's oh, okay. Big, yeah, that's a big difference. I was when I was out over the road trucking, I'd get these tornado watch alerts on my phone, and I'd be freaking out. And they're like, "Oh, a watch doesn't mean nothing. It's the warning that you have to be concerned with." So that's cool. Yeah, everything's good with me. Glad to hear you guys are doing all right. Um, yeah, so I went in on the car today, replaced the fuel injector, didn't fix the problem. Jeez, it's at the point where I'm not going to throw any more money at this car because for the for the error code I'm getting, I've already basically done everything that should be throwing that error code unless it's internal engine damage, and if that's the case, it's curtains. It's curtains. Jeez. So yeah, it's kind of chilly out here. No, but I had to get some brake parts cleaner to get the injector into the rail. That was, but I didn't even need it. I ended up finding out my son was helping me with that, and I was having trouble getting the injector to seat in there properly. It kept leaking fuel, and my son said, "Is there something stuck in the rail?" And I didn't even think about that. So I pulled the injector out, had the brake parts cleaner, which makes it go in easier, and I look in there, and there's an O-ring from the previous one. So no, not French. Actually, German and Irish is my heritage, I guess you would say. All right, that cigarette's done. We're gonna go back. So sorry about the bumpy phone. Ugh. So gonna go hit the gym here. Yeah. Uh, numero sept says Bobby White, you broke. Okay, I'm not broken anymore. It's the transformation. I was broke. I was addicted to crystal for 15 years. I'm trying to watch the words that I use because YouTube likes to flag me for everything. But um, yeah, I was addicted to drugs for 15 years, and now I am sober. I have actually been sober since 2004, August the 9th to be exact. And so it's the transformation. I was broke. Yeah, it is. I agree. Uh, Numero sept. I think you're the Loch Ness Monster says, Bobby, thanks for not giving up. I enjoy the channel. Sticking to prison stories without snitching would be awesome. I know there's plenty in your head. They entertain you. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I try to tell when I do tell stories about that. I don't. I only have so many prison stories. I did a lot of time in the county jails as well, but uh, you know, it's kind of a fine line. Some people like to give all the bloody details, and oh, it was this guy from that video, and like I can't do all that stuff, you know. Like usually, if I do tell names in a story, I make they're fictional ones. I just kind of we're gonna call this guy whatever, you know what I mean? But because it's not my business to be telling other people's business, first of all, and you know, I wouldn't want somebody speaking on my business if they didn't have permission. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of a fine line telling some of those stories, but I know they can be entertaining, especially for people maybe that have never been there. So it's like seeing a glimpse into that world. But to be honest with you, like I never, how do I say this? Epidemics. You got any cool pharmacy stories in the OC 80s were hot? Oh, uh, hey, what's up, Psycho World? Hope you're doing well. Um, I was gonna say something and I lost my train of thought, but but I will say this: if you're fascinated by the prison stuff, there is a channel I follow, and it's they're in the chat right now. Actually, Solid Behind Blue Eyes. It's called Solid Behind Blue Eyes. Go check it out. Uh, her old man is in the California prison system right now in restricted housing unit in um, I'm drawing a blank. New Folsom, in the restricted housing unit. Uh, hey, what's up, Mexican G? But yeah, there's some good insight there. If you're really into the prison stuff, that's he goes by Two Scoops. Solid Behind Blue Eyes. Go check it out. They're revealing. Oh, okay, cool. Shout out to Two Scoops and Mrs. D. Yeah, they reveal the corruption of the California Department of Corrections. There's an R there too, but I don't think there's a lot of rehabilitation, honestly. At least there wasn't when I was doing time. Um, you know, when I was in there, like we were locked down most of the time, to be honest. I started on some lower levels. There wasn't even any rehabilitation there. Just a bunch of dudes running around playing grab ass all day, it seemed like. I didn't like the lower levels, so uh, when I got back to the 3-yard selective BS, yeah, um, I liked the way people carried themselves better there, but unfortunately, we were on lockdown and actions would lead me to AdSeg. I've told that story though. You can go back and look at that, how I ended up in AdSeg. But yeah, Ezekiel says, I'm about to protest to have Joel and G come back. Where are they? I know. I'm into intriguing stories, says the Loch Ness Monster. Ryan says, I'm locked up now. Damn, bro. Okay. I don't even want to ask where you're at, Ryan. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was honestly the thing, like the about the rehab. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because they're doing that like California model thing now where but you got the way I understand it, like you pretty much got to be an SNY inmate to really take advantage of the programs. Um, you know, or EOP inmate or whatever, you know. But like if you're solid on a GP, like it's not as readily available as I understand it. Now I don't know. I haven't been in there. I paroled in 2006. So we're coming up on 20 years of freedom. I'm sure it's changed a lot in there since then. But um, you know, uh let's see. Yeah. So but yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like I don't really know anything about what's going on in there now besides what I see on other people's channels. And to be honest, you have to be really careful who you're listening to, because some of these these content creators are amazing storytellers. And I'll tell you, I've seen it firsthand, where usually the ones talking the loudest really ain't doing all that much. They're telling their homeboys stories and stuff. And oh yeah, it's over here, and the riot kicked off, and I was Superman, and I was knocking get the fuck out of here with that shit. But then when some shit goes down on our yard, they're hiding in the corner. You know what I mean? Usually, in my experience, it's the quiet, the ones that are more quiet, you got to watch out for. I mean, it's not a perfect rule, but. And Wes, oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Monk, because I did a video recently about Wes getting busted in the body cam footage got put out. And I kind of went in on Wes a little bit because dude was just talking way too much, in my opinion. Like, once the handcuffs are on, shut the fuck up. But apparently some of his fanboys jumped in on the comments and were kind of letting me have it a little bit. If that's the sort of stuff you like, go on over there and subscribe and follow him. You don't need to be over here. You don't need to be over here. If that's what you like, somebody that, some Superman guy that, like, when those handcuffs came on, he was like, you guys seen the video, right? He came over and, and he started it with me. And, like, shut the fuck up. What I was taught as a kid was this. Growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, once you're being read your Miranda rights, you need to invoke your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say. Oh, but he came to my gym and he was starting it and I was defending myself. Get out of here, Wes. At one time I used to watch his content. When I was losing weight, some of that stuff was motivational. That, don't be a little bitch, go to the gym. That worked for me at that time. Then Wes decided to get all philosophical and I'm better than you type of stuff. And I had the keys everywhere I went. And if I didn't have the keys, I was next. Shut the fuck up. All that talking, come on, bro. And then they come out and you're being detained, sir. You're being detained, sir. We need to take you to talk to the detectives. And like, he really thought that he was smarter than them and that he could talk his way out of what was going on. Like when I got popped in Pico Rivera, I fell asleep at a light. All bad on me. All bad on me. Like I was on one for a couple days. I fell asleep at a light. I was awoke by a sheriff knocking his flashlight on my window. And, the thing is, the sheriff started asking questions. I noticed you got these little things that go in the pew-pew. Where's the pew pew at? And I laughed at him and I said, I have the right to remain silent, sir. Do what you got to do. You know what I mean? I am not going to assist you in your investigation in any way. It's not going to happen. You know, like, file your charges, do what you got to do. I understood what I was doing when I was doing it, when I was out there dealing, and I understood there were consequences that came with it. And, you know, at no time did I think I was any smarter than anybody else and that I could talk my way out of something. What I was always taught was, like I said, I'm just reiterating, once the Miranda rights are read, invoke them. Taking the Fifth Amendment, sir, I have nothing to say. I will not incriminate myself. So, yeah, they said they said I overdosed. I ended up in a hospital. They took me directly to a hospital from the scene. I don't remember a whole lot about that night, to be honest with you, Monk. But I do remember them trying to question me, and it just wasn't going to happen. Then the next day, I'm in the Pico substation. They took me to the Pico Rivera substation, and they call me out. And there's a detective that wanted to talk to me. You know, the detective wanted to talk to me. He said, okay, you know, this is what we got, blah, blah, blah. You know, where'd you get it from? And I laughed at dude. You know, I'm like, and take me back to my holding tank. Like, I got nothing to say to you, you know? And he says, well, you're probably looking somewhere in the 3 to 5 year range. And I said, well, so be it, you know? Like, I didn't want to go do a sentence like that, but I understood my assignment. I understand that when you do things that are illegal, there's a pretty good chance you could end up in handcuffs and lose your freedom. So, you know, I rode my beef. And funny thing is, when they got me, there had to have been about 52, 54 grams of that of those Folgers crystals. By the time I made it to court, they were reading off the charges. Do you understand, Bobby, that you are being accused of being in possession of 8 grams of Folgers crystals? And I said, what? Excuse me? Con permiso? And I said, yes, I do. I do understand I was in possession of 8 grams. What's the deal you're offering, you know? And they said a year in the county jail, which was probably too much for that, to be honest with you. But, you know, I said, where do I sign? Maybe you just too real for the self-snitching. I guess. I don't know. I've never understood that. One of the things my pops, rest in peace, taught me when I was a kid, it was Crystal, Isaac. One of the things he taught me, because he was a convict, he did time in Chino in the early 70s. And what my dad taught me, you know, he says, first of all, I don't want you living that sort of lifestyle. But if you choose to, then here's the deal. You know what you signed up for. When you get busted, you got nothing to say. You're not telling on any of your partners if you had any partners. You know, just because you're having a bad day don't mean everyone else needs to have a bad day as well. And you know what you signed up for. And I never forgot that, you know? I mean, nowadays, I don't break the law no more. I don't do anything that would put me in a position where I could end up in handcuffs. But that still rings true to this day, you know? If I did decide to do something that ran the risk of me being arrested, then that's what it is, you know? So, anyways, but yeah, Wes is something else. That dude. And then I just seen a video early this morning. I was scrolling through, and I seen this video. There's this dude. He uh he got famous. He's got quite a following. I can't think of what uh I can't think of what his name is, but he's on yeah, I did hear about that Loch Ness monster. Yeah, that seems all bad because those with those federal RICOs, usually by the time they drop those, there ain't much left to do. I mean, there's exceptions, but those cases are hard to beat. But now what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. About Wes. Okay. There's this dude, he got famous for going to like these bodybuilding shows, and what he would do is these bodybuilders, they would say, "Oh, I'm 6'1", 240 or whatever," and he would show up at these shows and he would say, "Hey, do you mind stepping on the scale and letting us measure you to see if what you're saying you are is true?" And he got quite a following for that. Well, apparently when Wes got booked in Florida, they listed him as 5'8" and 230 pounds. Well, apparently Wes was really upset that they listed him at 5'8". He says he's 6 feet tall. And to be honest with you, who really gives a fuck? I don't. But yeah, and I agree with you solid on that. There's always a choice until there isn't one, right? So dude went to Wes's gym and he wanted to get the measurables, the height, the weight, and either prove or disprove the fact that he's 5'8". And Wes wanted to fight with the dude because apparently he's not what he says he is. But honestly, who cares? Like, I don't have time to waste on how tall Wes. I don't care how tall Wes Watson is. But apparently Monk identifies as 6'1", which that's pretty good. I identify as 6'5", probably more like 5'9", but in this day and age where I can identify as a large cat, I identify as 6'5". Yeah, Psycho World says Wes want to scrap with everybody on the net, but never done it once. Yeah, and when dude showed up, the original incident that got Wes in hot water, and I knew that was going to happen because I did a video on that one too. The thing is, Wes is a convicted felon. Now, shot caller, probably not, but he is a convicted felon. Okay, he did go to prison, and once you are a convicted felon, you have to be careful with your actions. And the thing is, it's not to say that you're not going to defend yourself if there's an issue, but how far you go with defending yourself will determine your fate. Because when you end up in court, what they're going to say is, "Oh, Mr. Bobby, we see you have prison priors and this and that and the other." And, like a prison prior, I think that adds like a year or two to your sentence. Absolutely. Solid Behind Blue Eyes says he's loud and that's enough to make him annoying. Absolutely. Yeah, he just, ugh. No, really, he was a shit caller. He did a video about it. Can't put it on the internet if it's not true. Wow. Herb had spoke. He says he's going to have a rough time in Florida. Ain't no wood pile. Wes want to scrap. Okay, yeah. He will be paying someone. And, I don't know. Like, I hear in some of these other states, like if you have funny charges or something, like a lot of times they'll extort you rather than get you off the yard, which, which I don't get that. Because in Cali, whether it was county jail, prison, whatever it was, like if you're somebody that messes with people's children or something like that, we're not going to live with you. It's just not going to happen. Now, however it is, you're going to be leaving. However it is, you are not going to be living in close proximity with me or with any of the people I kept company with. I don't care if, you're Bill Gates or something, you know what I mean? And you got tons of money. I could care less about that. And I would hope if something happened to one of my children, somebody in there would take care of that for me. That's kind of the way I always looked at that. So go from Fent mixed black. 2015. What's 2015? The Loch Ness Monster. What was your last comment? You know what? I got to run inside and refill the coffee real quick, guys. Stand by for just a minute. Maybe this is a good time to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, become a member, do all that stuff. You know what I mean? Give me about 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I'm going to refill the coffee. I'll be right back. My apologies for the interruption there. Let's see, what did we miss here? Nice, Psycho World. Hit a lap. Oh, man. Okay. Appreciate you all, and yeah, that's a good channel to sub to. Like I said, Solid Behind Blue Eyes, Pelican Bay State Prison Hunger Striker. He was one of the people that was hunger striking up there in the short corridor, as I understand it. So has a lot of really good insight into that world. That I don't know anything about that. Never made it to the shoe. And I mean, thank God for that, I often wonder if I had a longer sentence, if that would have been my fate, But Herb says, can someone shoot his link? Solid Behind Blue Eyes, can you drop a link into the comments? I don't know how to do that, so. You look like how I imagine an American dad. Okay. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Yeah. Yeah, just put solid behind blue eyes. It's trying to see the if you scroll up in the comments, you can see what the logo looks like on there. It looks like an eagle with a white background. Okay. What is Broken Bobby? It's Broken Bobby's transformation. Bobby was broken. Bobby was an addict for a long time. And Bobby transformed his life. So it's Broken Bobby's transformation. I appreciate the question. Black Chicken. Hope you're doing well. Donald Heel says, my number was C, D, and J on my last case by 3 weeks. Damn. Those are some old school numbers, Donald. I was on a V number, so I came way after you did when it came to the California system. But C number, man, that's like what, somewhere in the late 70s, maybe? I know J was like mid 90s. I knew somebody that was on a J number. Appreciate that, Black Chicken. Yeah, and that's awesome that you beat that. That you didn't catch that third strike, bro. I'm really happy for you. Nah, Monk's good people. Bobby was broken. Monk is just straight broke. Monk is good people. I think a lot of us are just straight broke right now. Between that car and everything else, Jesus, my bank's sending me hate mail almost on the daily. Appreciate that, Herb916. Yeah, you know the thing about recovery is like you have to get to a point in your life where you're tired of doing the same old shit, you know? Like when I remember I would use and there was like no excitement or anything to it. Like I was just trying to make myself normal or feel normal. I wasn't normal by any means. I was on that shit. I was definitely not a normal individual. But uh, you just got to make a decision that you want something better for your life because you're not winning when you're strung out on whatever it is you may be strung out on, And now I just seen I tried to say kicking meth was easy, but I look back at the 10 years. Yeah, exactly, Once I got up heroin and cocaine and off paper, I left California, moved all the way to Florida. The last spot I was in the pen was in Corcoran. Okay, yeah, so you were there in those times where that was definitely not a good place, Donald, I'm sure. Based on your number, I'm assuming you were probably in Corcoran Shoes sometime in the 90s, around the time of the gladiator fights in the Green Wall. Yeah, and that's what it was, Monk. I mean, honestly, that's what it was. It was to the point where, like, all I'd do was lay around and sleep all day, super agitated if I didn't have it, And, life is so much better now. Life is so much better now. You know, we still got issues. Life's gonna have issues whether you're getting high or not, you know, but um, you know, at least I can see things clearly. You know, I appreciate. Sometimes boring is great, you know. Psycho World, I completely agree with you on that. Um, you know, it's so wild and you're all over the place when you're out there. Because I was constantly in the streets, you know, and just staying home at first was difficult. But you know, I was on parole. I put myself in an in-house program. The parole officer said I didn't need it. He was a notorious parole officer out of the San Bernardino office, Officer Rapizzi, if anybody's familiar. I remember the first time I met this dude. He's like an older Italian guy, or at least that's what he looked like. Um, and there was a shirt hanging on his wall that one of his in both state and federal prisons, I chased that dragon hard. It ain't no joke. You stay clean, brother. I appreciate you, Donald, and I definitely appreciate you tapping in, bro. And congratulations on getting it together. You know, but yeah, Rapizzi, he had a shirt on the wall. It said, "I survived Rapizzi, Officer Rapizzi," and that dude was on my bumper, man. My God, it wasn't like probation, where you know the PO might show up once in a while, check in, do a piss test or whatever. This guy was on me. Um, exactly, Monk. He says, in the spaces in between now, the little things, you know, going to the park with my dog is real life, something I wouldn't notice if I was on one. Completely agree with you, brother. Yeah, that PO, I remember telling him I was going to go to rehab. I wanted to check myself into an in-house, like a 90-day program. And he told me, you don't need rehab. And I said, you don't know what you're talking about, partner. So I ended up getting myself in there on a county bed where the county pays for it. And at least that way I had a good address to give him where nothing was going on. And because, you know, the whole family was in the game. So, but, you know, so yeah, I checked myself in, learned some stuff along the way, went to some meetings, did those sort of things. And, you know, and I got it right, which, you know, thank God for that. Because I was a jackass in those days, you know. I would trip on stupid shit, you know. But, you know, that product, it brings out the worst in people, you know. No, not really. Cali State and bedtime in your area, you might recognize some names. Dog and having a home. Dope made me homeless, Scoops said. Good night. Good night, Scoops. Appreciate you guys tapping in. You be safe in there, bro. And keep fighting that good fight. Herb says, I gained 30 pounds in like 2 months. I just ate and ate. Yeah, same, bro. Same. Dubstep 023er says cheeseburger. You're not at a drive-through, Dubstep. You want fries with that? You want to make it a combo? Remember Cottonmouth? Throat gets so dry, can't even ask for water. Oh my God, I do remember that. That's horrible. That is horrible. What's going on, Mo? Why I gotta be an old fart though, bro? Huh? Not that old. Me and my son were at the gym last night. We were doing that, just like a chest press machine where you do these. I, I had 370 on that bad boy. New personal record. Only one rep. You know what I mean? But I was blown away. 4 plates on both sides. I was like, damn. I couldn't believe it. So I guess I'm a strong old fart when I can breathe. Donald says, I did a total of 8 shoe programs. Every time I went to Chino, it was straight to Palm Hall, 3rd tier. Put it this way, I've seen some shit. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, my pops told me some stories about Palm Hall back in the early, he was in there in the early 70s, though, you know? When I paroled, yeah, same here, solid. Same here. Yeah, I don't do the meetings anymore. The hardest part was adjusting when got out. I was fucking, yeah, kind of the same, Donald. I mean, nowhere near the level of time that you did. I didn't do much time at all, you know. I mean, I did a lot of county jail time and a little bit of prison time. I was on probation in Riverside, San Bernardino, and Los Angeles all at the same time. So I was in and out a lot, and just dealing with the general public after I had made the parole finally in 2006. Like, it was difficult. Like, being in the neighborhood was all right because everybody pretty much was up on game, you know what I mean? But like, I went to the college to sign up, and this youngster, uh, he said some dumb shit, and I almost fired on him. And I was still in the in-house rehab program, and like, he said some dumb shit and like kind of rolled his eyes, and my fist just balled up, and I said, let me take a breath. Let me take a breath, because this young dumbass don't know what he's doing, and obviously he's never been anywhere where, you know, where you could get bombed on for some dumb shit like that, you know? So, yeah, that was the adjustment back. And like I said, I didn't even do that much time, but what's up, Joey Frakes? How you doing tonight, brother? He says, what's up from the high desert pile? That's right. Shout out to the high desert pile. Hope you're doing well, bro. Yeah, I'm going to be going and hitting the gym here in just a little bit. Let me see. But yeah, we'll keep it rolling for a few more minutes. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, keep the comments rolling. I appreciate it. This has been a good live tonight. You know, sometimes I get on here and it kind of fizzles a little bit and not much happens, but got this doctor I work with, should probably watch this. Yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear you. Some of them can be, some of them doctors. There was one. What's up, OIOIO? OIOI, the second? Uh-huh. Exactly, Psycho World. Yeah, there was a incident. My wife went to this urgent care, and this doctor, I forget what he said, but he said some out-of-pocket shit. And he was standing in the doorway, and we were gonna walk out, you know, and he didn't want to move. And I told him, you can move or I'm gonna move you. Like, his eyes got all big, and he like kind of walked back like, oh my God. But, you know, sometimes it's crazy. Dude, he didn't believe me. The back order was a real thing. He thought I made the word up. Huh. I just hit the big 4-5 yesterday. Hey, shout out to you. Happy birthday, brother. 45. Celebrated with some fam from up in Lompoc. My cousin is in a punk band. Nice. That's good stuff, man. Well, I hope you had a wonderful birthday. Call me liar because helium was on back order. Okay. Yeah, so this has been a fun one. Dan YT. Yeah, this has definitely been one of the better lives in a while. So I appreciate everybody's participation. Have a good night. Solid, I appreciate you coming through to go shopping, and I would immediately walk out of the supermarket because too many people walking around me would just put me on. Yeah. And I hear that, and that's still something that bugs me sometimes, Donald, to be honest with you. Like if we're in a store and there's like kids running around or something, like it just really pings my anxiety. Like knock that shit off. Plant food? I don't know what that is, Bill D. I do not. Me no sabe. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. Maybe I'll jump on again tomorrow night. We'll see what's up. Be on the lookout for it. I'll put something up in the community tab if I plan to do it. I'll let you guys know. But I'm going to get ready to go and hit the gym. Got to continue to work on that fitness. I'm not getting any younger. So, you know, it is what it is. But I appreciate everybody tapping in tonight. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check out my playlist. And smoke salditos. Damn. Snorted brewer's yeast. Psycho World, I'm not sure. He's been playing bass like 20 years. His latest band is... Oh, okay. That's a sidebar conversation there. So, anyways, we're going to wrap it up for the night, guys. I appreciate everybody's participation. We'll see what we can do about getting back on tomorrow night. I'm going to go hit the gym, like I said. And I'm going to try to get a video out for you guys for the week. So be on the lookout for that as well. If you haven't checked out the video on Wes that I dropped last week, go check it out. Appreciate you, Joey. Appreciate you, Monk. Solid Behind Blue Eyes. Go check them out if you haven't already. And anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. Remember, it's all about the company that you keep. If you hang around a bunch of brain surgeons, you're probably a brain surgeon. Let that sink in. Oh, boy. Anyways, so I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Later, Psycho World. Appreciate you. You do the same. And remember, don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing. Donald says, I'm going to be in the Philippines March 26th. My wife passed away, and then shout out to you as well, Donald. I appreciate you participating. Hopefully, I'll see you all tomorrow night. Have a good one, guys.